everyone, Cat here, your favorite ginger bibliophile. And, well, when this goes up, it'll be Monday. So, I know I said I was going to be stepping back from BookTube, and this will probably end up being the only bookish video this week. So, but we still got to do a little bit, and this will be a nice short one because it's once again one I haven't read, but it's not even two full pages. So, let's get into it and see what kind of smart alecky stupidness we're gonna get today. We got story number 82 is Gambling Hans. Right off the bat, we got some issues because we know Hans is not that smart. So, this ain't gonna go well. Once upon a time, there was a man who did nothing but gamble, so people called him Gambling Hans. Since he gambled all the time, he eventually lost his house and everything else he owned. And on the day before his creditors were to take possession of his house, the Lord and St. Peter appeared and requested a night's lodging. So Gambling Hans said, "As far as I'm concerned, you can spend the night, but I can't give you a bed or anything to eat." Once again, I thought we were taking all the religious ones and putting them somewhere else at the end of the book. But let's see. How much is this gonna go? The Lord said that he had only to provide lodgings and that they would buy themselves something to eat. All that was acceptable to Gambling Hans, whereupon St. Peter gave him 3 groschen. I love all the different kinds of money that show up in these stories that I've never heard of. And gave him 3 groschen and told him to go to the baker and fetch some bread. I don't know, St. Peter was kind of a prick in the last story. I'm not sure I trust him. So Gambling Hans departed, but as he passed the house where the other gamblers lived, the same men who had won everything from him, they called out to him, "Hans, come on in." "Not on your life," he said. "You just want to win 3 groschen from me, too." However, the others did not let up, and they got him to come in and gamble away the 3 groschen. In the meantime, St. Peter and the Lord were waiting, and when Hans did not come back after a while, they went out to see what was keeping him. When he saw them coming, he pretended to have dropped the money in a puddle of water and crawled around as if he were looking for it. But the Lord knew quite well that he had been gambling the money away. Now St. Peter gave him another 3 groschen, and this time he did not let himself be tempted and brought back the bread. After that, the Lord asked him whether he had any wine, and he replied, "I'm sorry, sir, the barrels in the cellar are empty." Then the Lord told him to go down into the cellar. The best wine is still down there. At first, Gambling Hans did not want to believe him, but finally he said, "I'll go down, but I know there isn't any." Yet when he tapped the barrel, the very best wine came out, and he brought them the wine. The two spent the night there, and early the next morning the Lord told Gambling Hans he would grant him 3 favors, thinking that he would want to go to heaven. But Gambling Hans asked for a deck of cards that would enable him to always win, dice that would enable him to always win, and a tree that not only had all sorts of fruits, but if anyone ever climbed the tree, he would not be able to get down unless Hans gave the order. The Lord granted him everything he wanted and went on his way with St. Peter. Now Gambling Hans began gambling in earnest, and soon he was on the verge of winning half the world. At this point, St. Peter said to God, "Lord, this won't do. Soon he'll win the whole world. We must send death after him." I told you St. Peter was not to be trusted. He likes killing folks. So they sent Death after him, and when Death arrived, Gambling Hans was at the gambling table. Duh. "Hans, come outside for a moment," Death said. "Just wait a little while until the game is over. In the meantime, why don't you climb that tree outside and pick a few things for us to nibble on along the way?" Death climbed the tree, but when he wanted to get down, he was unable to, and Gambling Hans let him stay up there for 7 years, during which time nobody died. See, he's sneaky and nice. Again, St. Peter said to God, "Lord, this won't do. No one is dying anymore. We shall have to go ourselves." Jeez, he just can't wait to be a serial killer, can he? So they went themselves, and the Lord ordered Gambling Hans to release Death. Hans then went straight up to Death and said, "Get down." And Death seized him and strangled him on the spot. Then they went together to the other world, and Gambling Hans went straight to the gate of heaven, where he knocked. "Who's there?" "Gambling Hans." "Oh, we don't need you here. Go away." Then he went to the gate of purgatory and knocked again. Who's there? Gambling Hans. Oh, we've got enough misery and trouble here. We don't want you. You know, go away. Then he went to the gate of hell where they let him right in. There was nobody at home except Lucifer and the hunchback devils, for the straightback devils were taking care of business on earth. So he sat down right away and began gambling again. Now, Lucifer had nothing to lose but his hunchback devils, and Gambling Hans won them from him because of the deck of cards that helped him always win. After that, he took off with the hunchback devils, and they went to Hohenfurt together. That's really not how you say it, but that's kind of what it looks like to me. And now my mind is just going, there's a whole fort full of, fill in the blanks. They went there together and pulled out some hot poles. Next, they went up to heaven and attacked the heavenly kingdom with the poles. Soon heaven was about to collapse, and St. Peter said, Lord, this won't do. We must let him out. Let him in, or else he'll overthrow all of heaven. They let him in, but Gambling Hans instantly began gambling again. There was such a noise and racket that nobody could hear himself speak. Once again, St. Peter said, Lord, this won't do. We must throw him out, or else he'll cause all sorts of chaos in heaven. Chaos! Sounds like he's just trying to make it fun. So they seized him and threw him out. His soul was smashed to pieces as a result. And some of the flying fragments worked their way into many gamblers who are still alive this very day. So that's a nice, super messed up one. And where the heck did my bookmark go? I don't know. But hopefully y'all enjoyed that, and I will see you soon. Bye. Happy reading.